Hello Australia, it's Karen Boy here. I'm not a member of any political party, organisation or group, it's just me. I just am so happy about that news article appearing in Sydney Morning Herald saying that the ministers and parliamentarians are receiving an unprecedented amount of correspondence. They're in that news report from Sydney Morning Herald, they're saying that it's about anti-vaccinations. But the fact is, Australia, it's also about the pedophile network of Freemason Demolay. I know that for a fact because I have had hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of people send me photos of their stack of envelopes with their correspondence and stamps on it ready to go. So I know our bee stings are being effective. And we know that because now Sydney Morning Herald published a story at the stroke of midnight this morning about the unprecedented level of registered letters being sent to parliamentarians. So you see, Australia, Karen's very happy this morning, very, very happy, because as we know, our mainstream media never tells us the whole story, but the fact that they are in fact reporting the volume of letters coming into our federal ministers is in fact confirmations bee stings are effective, you see, Australia. And so Karen's very, very happy this morning, very, very happy. I could do a happy dance, Australia, I could do a happy dance this morning. So people, you've got to keep those bee stings going because we are in fact being effective. And you see, here's the bottom line, there's more of us than them. Yeah, that's a fact. There's 837 Freemason Demolay pedophile protecting politicians, and of course pedophile politicians, and there are in fact 25 million of us. They're overwhelming numbers, aren't they, Australia? And when the Sydney Morning Herald starts publishing about the volumes of mail coming into our parliamentarians, and we know, of course, that all media is controlled by Freemason Demolay, but the fact that they're murmuring now about the mail that's flooding into our parliamentarians tells me, oh yes, those spiders are getting very nervous now, very nervous, shaky ground now. 25 million Australians not happy about Freemason Demolay incest and pedophilia. We're also not happy about 5G, vaccinations, foreign debt, foreign ownership, no aged pension, the Murray-Darling Basin, no real assistance for our farmers, the selling off of our electricity, our involvement with the Freemason Demolay administration branch known as the United Nations. And you see, the people are angry. And the politicians are becoming aware of just how angry the people are because the people are sending their bee stings through the mail, hard copy. Yeah, not emails. No, not emails. They're actually taking the time to write the letters, put them in an envelope, address them, and put a stamp on them. And you see, they've had to publish a story about that because the people that work in Australia Post would now also be becoming aware of the volume of correspondence flowing to their federal parliamentarians and state parliamentarians. You see, those workers at Australia Post, they talk. Yeah, they got a bush telegraph all of their own. And so the mainstream media's decided we better publish a story to make it look like we've done something. But you see, the Sydney Morning Herald, the editor of the Sydney Morning Herald is a Freemason Demolay. Yes, so Karen's very, very, very happy about that. Now, of course, Australia, we're all going to be busy. Hi, Kevin, thank you for reminding me, and I will post the whole notice again. We're all going to be very busy this weekend on the 30th of May because we're all attending at our parliamentary houses and King George Square and all those places around Australia. I'll post the notice again about where we all need to be on the 30th of May as far as is humanly possible, you know. It's going to be an awesome day too, you know. The community just out having a gathering. And the fact of the matter is, if you think that your letter doesn't matter, now you know it does matter. Sydney Morning Herald reported on it. Your bee stings matter, Australia. Bee stings in volume matter a great deal because we outnumber them. Yeah. And as we, the normal folk, start to organise, those politicians, they're very nervous. Oh yeah, they're getting nervous, and you can tell that too, Australia. As well they should be, because there's more of us than them. And you see, they've always been of the mindset that average Joe people just won't rise up. I know, completely ignorant, aren't they, these Freemason demolays? I know. I mean, they seem to be selective with regards to history. Like I mentioned last night, I mean, look what happened to Mussolini when he pissed off the Italian people. The Italian people, they're very passionate people. I grew up in the western suburbs of Sydney in the 70s and 80s, and I went to school with a lot of Italians, a lot of Greeks, a lot of Maltese, you name it, we had them. And I can tell you, the Italian people, they're very passionate people. You don't want to go around pissing off an Italian or a Greek. I'm telling you that now, And you see, this is the thing. Average Joe Australians, right, like even my ancestry, I'm half Scottish. And of course, you know what the Scottish are like, Braveheart and all that, freedom, and all that. So on a whole, you can pretty much say average Joe people, no matter what heritage line you have, average Joe people are in fact average Joe people until you piss them off. Yeah, until you piss them off, yeah. And when the politicians piss off the average Joe people, man, it gets ugly, yeah. It gets really ugly. Like history shows us that, from the medieval times until now. You don't want to go around pissing off average Joe. You really don't, because it can get really fucking full on really quickly, And I mean, there's a certain irony to the fact that the politicians have spent our money putting a fence around our Parliament House. Do they honestly believe a fence is going to save them now? I mean, so you got 25 million people, 227 federal parliamentarians, and they think a fence is going to save them. That's how fucked in the head these people are, Australia. I'm telling you, these Freemason demolay people, they're not right in the bloody head. They're not right in the bloody head, they're inbreds, But I just thought it was so good that the Sydney Morning Herald published that story. And whilst they've tried to say the whole issue is vaccinations, you and me, we both know that's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Because I know for a fact hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of people have sent those letters about the suppression orders. I know that for a fact because they've sent me the photos of all their envelopes. And so, you see, Australia, to all those people that say how many letters, I'll tell you how many letters. Every person you know that knows incest and pedophilia are wrong, right? They need to send a letter. If you know incest and pedophilia are wrong, you need to send a letter to the Governor-General and to the governors of your state. You also need to send them to your federal senators, your federal local member and your state representatives. It's really that easy, Australia. You upend this network of filth simply by calling it out. You see, the Freemason demolays, they think they've got a whole secret society. Yeah, they think they've got a whole secret society walking amongst mainstream society. And they believe that because they think it's all hush-hush. But you see, once you send the letters, their secret society is not hush-hush anymore. Oh, huck, it's out, people know, And there's nowhere left to hide. Now, if somebody had have said to me 2 years ago that I would be embarking on this journey and I would end up with, 5,000 friends and over 10,000 followers, I would have said to you, I'm not sure about that. But here I am. Australia. I've been telling you about the Freemason demolay network of filth for 2 years. And I've been helping my fellow Australians learn how to detect the Freemason demolay and learn what they're all about. And I am helping every Australian to learn how to detect them by knowing the two questions to ask. Where did you go to school? And who's your daddy? Yesterday I posted again the list of Freemason demolay associations that I have identified that network these schools across the country. I posted that again yesterday, because it's really important, Australia, that we not only call out this web of incest and paedophilia known as Freemason demorale that is in fact our entire judiciary. It is also important that we teach our fellow Australians how to detect them. It's important that we share with our fellow Australians Senator Bill Heffernan's speech. It's important that you highlight the things with regards to the Woods Royal Commission. It's important that you become the Bush Telegraph about Durek Boyshome, Alistair Webster being a federal MP, and the culture of silence that has gone on with over 50 years worth of local, state and federal politicians. It's really important that we teach each other about those things, because our mainstream media lie to us and our politicians lie to us. So we have to teach each other. We have to be the Bush Telegraph for each other, because that's the only truth we're ever going to get, Australia, you know. And I just thought I'd come back because I'm so proud. I am so proud of my fellow Australians. You know, really, we embarked on the letter writing campaign. Well, I did 2 years ago, but I only really started talking about it with my fellow Australians a few months back, you know, really. And just look how effective we've been, Australia. You know, the mainstream media, they might be saying it's all about vaccinations, but it's not. You and I know that because we have in fact sent the letters. So I would say our politicians are getting very nervous now. And so they might want to go down there to Canberra and they might want to cower behind the fence. Cower down behind the fence. Oh, we're all in this Freemason network of filth together. We'll be safe so long as we stay together. No, you won't. No, you won't. No, you won't. And any politician that had any brains, you know, that wasn't an inbred, but of course we don't have any of those, they would be like Bill Heffernan, wouldn't they? They'd be coming out and going, fuck, I better be the first fucking parliamentarian to fucking jump on this bandwagon to save my own ass. But they're not. No. They're all covering each other's ass. They're hunkering down. They're giving a bit of homage and merit, rogering each other in the background, you know. And they think that's going to save them, that defence. You've got absolutely no hope of being saved, Australia, as the Bush Telegraph marches on by the thousands every day. Every day. Somebody sees Senator Heffernan's speech that hasn't seen it before every day. I know that happens every day because I share that speech every fucking day, you know. And I know others share that speech every day too, yeah. And in addition to that, whilst they're out and about, you know, us average Joe people, we're having these conversations. Yeah. I mean, whilst you're busying yourselves getting facial recognition cameras and temperature cameras and let's all hunker down and try and scare all the masses with coronavirus, we're so over your bullshit, right? We're so over your bullshit. Nobody's listening to any of you people anymore. Any of you parliamentarians, nobody's fucking listening to you. I mean, look at Anastasia Palaszczuk coming out, you know, saying, oh, the borders are going to be closed. A load of fucking shit. If 10,000 Gold Coasters decide to drive to the border right now, you'd drive straight through that fucking border. What do you think a handful of fucking people cops are going to do about that? Fucking nothing, you know? So on the 30th, you know, the people in Brisbane, they're all going to be down at King George Square. People in Sydney going to be at Hyde Park, and I'm going to post the notice up that came out, I think it was the day before yesterday. It's a black and white notice with all the dates and where everyone's going to be. But Australia, there's your proof. You know, that article posted at midnight by the Sydney Morning Herald. We're just going to talk about that for a sec, Australia. I hope you don't mind. I'd just like to have a chat. You'll notice that the mainstream media, they post about pedophiles and things like that, you know. They do that after 7:30 p.m. because they believe everyone's off their feed by then, and those stories get buried, you know. They often post them around about 10 p.m, I've noticed. But this particular one about the registered mail flooding into our parliamentarians, they posted that at the stroke of midnight this morning. You know, isn't that extraordinary? Hoping that it'll be so far down the feed that nobody will even know. But, you know, it's not working. It's not working because as more and more Australians, as more and more of us talk, you know, And I point that out to people often. Look at the time the story was published. It's very important that you pay attention to that. And who was the journalist that wrote the story? It's also important that you pay attention to that. And of course, as more and more of us start to wake up to these tactics, these people got nowhere to hide. They've got nowhere to hide. We're going to build a fence. We're going to get a fence. We're going to get a fence there, and that'll save us. The fence will save us. Don't like your fucking chances, you know. I mean, I'm not sure where Mussolini was when the passionate Italian people got hold of him. But I don't think a fence or a fucking door saved him by the looks of history. You know, I don't think it did. I don't think it fucking worked, you know. So you can build the biggest fucking fence you like, but it ain't going to save you now. The people are on the rise and the people are on the march. You people got nowhere left to hide. Absolutely nowhere left to hide, you know.